Hi, welcome to the Crack of Dawn. It's Dawn Lombardi, and I'm so glad you're tuning in. It is Monday night, oh my gosh, 27th of October. So you guys probably won't see this episode until after Halloween. I just got in the studio and I was just leaving, and Janice was just finishing up her Janice's cooking show, which is fantastic. So I hope everybody's really loving that because she's a ball. Today, what we're going to do is I'm working on two commissions. So, well, one is a gift and the other one is kind of a commission. So one is of a former priest, pastor, that has passed away. So they want it for the parish where it's going to hang with all of the other parishioners. This is this one right here. I'm doing watercolor. This is extremely expensive paper. It's called Arches. It's Arches, and it's expensive paper, and I just happen to come across a lot of it. So I have a lot of it at my house, and it looks really good because the texture is really thick and really great. So I'm using that for that one. The other one that I'm doing is a friend of mine, she just got married, or her daughter just got married, and she married a West Point military cadet, which is great. And so they're going to start their life together out in Georgia. I guess that's Fort. I can't remember which fort it's called, but they change all the names a lot. So just like Janice, when we had her on, when she was talking about the Navy, this guy's West Point, so he's Army. And it's pretty hard to get into that school, so it's amazing. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. I use these two watercolor sets. One is brand new, this one, and the other one's old. And when you look at this one versus that one, you kind of want to use the new one. But guess what? The old one's better, because if you can see all of this glop and guck over here is where I kind of mix my colors. And with watercolors, anytime it dries, if you add water, it turns back into watercolor or color. So anytime you have a messy palette or something like that, it dries, dry. And then you just add some water and it turns back into color. So instead of having the perfectly neat palette, I like to have the messy one, because then when I'm trying to do like skin color or something, sometimes it's already there made for me. Okay? And anytime your watercolors get messy, you don't want to dump them down the drain, because when you run them under the water, a lot of it's going to go down the drain. So you don't want to do that. And I find myself doing that a lot at school, because the kindergartners, they try to listen, but they don't really do it. And when they mix them all together, we do eventually have to run them under the water to get them clear again. So you don't really want to do that. So I started out with a simple sketch, very, very simple. I'm not sure if I'm going to save these or what I'm going to do with them, but I thought, you know what, since I'm here tonight, let's work on them while I'm here. So the watercolors are fun. The only thing about watercolors are super cheap to do, but if you're doing watercolor paper, you have to frame the watercolor, because it's paper, so it has to have glass over it. Whereas like an oil painting or a canvas, you don't need the glass. So again, the only problem is you've got to frame these, but you can do it very cheap. You can do it at Michael's. Take the tag off. Nothing against Michael's, but just take the tag off, because they do such a great job. But it's almost like putting a Walmart sticker on whatever. Go to an expensive framer like Jim at Farmington Frames, right in Farmington, if you really want a nice job. But if you can't afford it, go to Michael's, okay? And you don't have to pick the label off. I'm just saying they do a pretty good job, and you don't have to make it look so cheap. And they aren't really that cheap. So what I'm doing is basically all of these watercolors. I've got pretty much the primary colors. They don't put black, because black is not a color. It's so funny that they put white though. But I guess, there's white in this particular thing. These are called Winsor Newton palettes, and they're $20. They're probably about $30 now because the pandemic and stuff like that. I have no idea, but when I used to buy them, they were $20, maybe $22.95. I get them at Blick Art in Plainville. You can get them at Jerry's Artorama. You can get them probably at Michael's, but maybe not. And when you run out of a color, you just buy a little teeny square of it and you just replace it. They're like little chiclets, and they're great for traveling. So if you're doing any traveling and you really want to paint, you don't want to be carrying around easels and stuff when you're, traveling around. You want something that's, easy to put on a bus or a train like this. I wouldn't suggest doing something as big as this. Watercolor is great for layering, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing his hair, and he doesn't really have a lot of it, but he's got some. And I'm going to do that. Hope everybody's been great. It's got like a little bit colder. It got a lot colder. All of a sudden, it got really cold out, but I think it was like It definitely frosted on my car this morning, and then I'm not sure really what's happening right now. But I know that Jamaica is experiencing something pretty bad tonight. So my prayers to anybody that has family, friends, or you're in Jamaica. It's pretty scary. It's going to be like I think it's like a storm, like a 6, like a, whatever they call it when they rate it. It's a 6. So that's kind of bad. And I've been to Jamaica once. I went for 2 weeks. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. Right now, I don't really love to travel. I mean, I've got to go to LA with my daughter soon, and I don't want to because I'm afraid of all of it, really. It's so crazy. But, some people love to travel, and I mean, I do too, but I don't know. It depends. Bradley Airport is it's like McDonald's compared to like O'Hare. That place is like, it's crazy. O'Hare's crazy. What's another one? The one in London. What's the one in London? Maybe that is O'Hare. No, O'Hare's in Chicago. The one in London is crazy. I forgot what it's called. Dublin, I could fly out there easy. And I heard they're getting rid of Avelo, which is an airline going from Bradley to, I think it does go to Jamaica, and I think it does affect like people that are traveling to India, but I'm not sure. But again, I mean, if you're not getting a lot of people traveling, then that's it. I like to fly out of Bradley just because it's so quick to the house. And you know what? I don't love getting on another plane and then getting on another plane and then keep doing that. I don't like doing that, but I'd rather do that than, excuse me, I'd rather do that than, risk the whole thing of getting to JFK on time and the traffic and the parking and all that stuff. Like, I love Bradley. And I park right at Ron Carey. And I don't know if you can still bet on horses there, but you used to be able to bet on the horses, off-track betting, which was fun. So yeah, again, these watercolors, they don't come with black. I'm sure you can order one with black. So what I'm doing is I'm doing like a mixture of dark, dark, dark blue. And then I'm taking alizarin crimson, which is dark red. And then I'm taking brown. And like I said, when I was in college, they didn't allow you to use black. So you had to figure out a way to make the darkest paint you could possibly do. And that's what we would do. So we would take like a phthalo blue, which is pretty much the darkest blue. And so this guy's eyebrows are clearly dark black, but I'm using this blue. And I don't know, since the black's not in the color spectrum, it's not in the color wheel, neither is white. So yeah. They just did it old school, and that's what we did. This guy has like Martin Scorsese eyebrows. It's crazy. Yeah. So we all keep thinking it's going to be a crazy winter. I don't know what you think, but like, oh God, I don't know. I love snow days, but a lot of teachers that I was working with today, they said, oh, no, I don't want any snow days. I want to get done as soon as we can. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. But there's nothing like waking up in the morning or even knowing the night before that like, oh God, there's nowhere to move the snow in Hartford, so we can't have, because they move the snow in Hartford, they move it to the parking lots because there's no way, a lot of people park on the streets because there's no parking or garages or whatever, so they park on the streets. That's not allowed because they have to be able to clear the streets. So what they do is they tell the people on the streets to move their cars, especially if you rent, you know what I mean? You don't necessarily come with parking. So what they do is they're allowed to park, I'm trying to think, yeah, I think they park in the schools. I'm not sure. I get it all mixed up. But anyway, and I don't know this guy's name. I should know it. But I know Lynn goes, this girl I work with, she goes on like kind of like missions. But I don't think it's like Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's like more like of a Catholic or like a Christian thing. There's so many different people I work with different religions. And so, they're all pretty much for the most part the same in that everybody has a God that they agree in, or, I mean, not agree in, but different God. But the same thing. The faith is there. Yeah. I got some kids that don't do anything, no birthdays, no this, that, and that. That could be Jehovah, but not necessarily. There's so many different religions. There really are. And I'm sitting here at Nutmeg TV looking around. It's so different here. They have like tons of drywall up. It's absolutely gorgeous. So if you're ever down in the area or you're on the show or if you're ever interested in checking it out, I'm sure you could take a tour or something like that, or if you're interested in doing a show of yourself. It's really great. And all the people here are great. Rich is the director and cameraman tonight, so thanks, Rich. And Nate was just here. He's great. We've had the same people down here for so long. And we had older ones, too, that I missed. So I'm mixing my paint like basically in the top of this watercolor thing, see? And then I'm just being very careful where I go. It's very different than acrylic paint. Some people are afraid of watercolor. I'm okay. I don't mind it. I just decided that I was going to do some loose drawings tonight, and watercolors can be really loose or tight, but I'm doing mine kind of loose. I know this guy was really well known and very easygoing, so I kind of thought the watercolor would work. And then with the watercolor for the wedding one, believe it or not, I did one for George Steinbrenner. I can't even remember if that's how you say it, but he owned the Yankees. And a friend of mine hired me to do one similar to this one. So this is a proposal when he asked her to marry him. Same thing, George Steinbrenner's daughter, I think, got proposed to, and I got the photograph and was asked to do a watercolor of her getting proposed to in the streets of, I think it was New York City. It was gorgeous, but it was very small. They were very particular in what they wanted. And so that's cool, you know what I mean? Not that I know these people, but it's just great because, sometimes it's not the picture that you want. You want your name to get out so much that you want people to say, it's sort of like having a Chanel bag, I guess. I mean, I would never compare myself to that, but that's sort of what all artists are trying to go for, is like when some lady says, oh, well, I don't want a fake Chanel, I want a real one. What I'm going for is to try to get my name out there so that, mine are exclusive because it's done by me. But I don't know, it sounds so snotty, but I mean, that's what every artist wants. You want everybody to say, I want a Nolan Lombardi. And you want people to like recognize your signature. And you want to become like, that's the only way to, make it with the art. It's like a label on clothing, but when people are wearing something, they want to, show the label. So, sometimes people look around and they can notice that my signature is the same on all my paintings pretty much. It changes on a couple different ones. Watercolors sometimes can be a little different, but pretty much my signature name is Nolan Lombardi. I've been using it forever. And that's it. And then, I'm going to do these streaks in her hair. Now, what I want to do is the background, I want to disappear kind of, and I want them to come to the forefront. So the background here is going to be very faded, which means a lot of water, because I'm going to do that. And I have my daughter's makeup brush here because I couldn't find a brush. So I grabbed her makeup brush. This is like how you do like your blush, but she won't mind and she won't know. Sorry, Nettie. But anyway, this is like what you do makeup with. But I grabbed it because I couldn't find one. And this one was so big. And as you can see, my dog chewed up the end of it. He still chews up stuff, God darn him, because he's a black lab. But he still, I'll tell you, he chews up stuff. And everybody, oh, he'll grow out of it. I don't know. I have no idea if that's ever going to happen. But we'll see. You want different greens in the background. You don't want the same green or else it won't look real. And again, you want it muted. So you just kind of like blur it out with a lot of water. And what happens is the watercolor paper absorbs the water. So like it's very, like, what do you call it? Like, oh God, what do you call it? The paper observes the water. So it kind of gets like, whatever, like bendy like this. So when you do bring it to get it framed, they press it with a press and they flatten it out. So they do it like really perfect. And, I'm excited. I'm going to send this one down to Florida where the parents live, and then they can do what they want with it and bring it to them where they're going to live. But this is kind of like my gift, which is nice. I don't know what weddings and stuff cost anymore. My God. I don't know. I know that all of the money that we got for my wedding, from gifts and stuff, we used it on our honeymoon, you know what I mean? So I don't think we would have gone anywhere if we didn't do that. And we went to Aruba, which I've never been, and I've never been since. But it was nice. they always say, oh, stay away from this and stay away from that. Don't go into the woods. All those things that scare the living daylights out of you when you're away. But, it's safe, Even when I went to Jamaica, they were like, don't go up in the woods. You never know if you're wandering around on someone's land, that's their land. It's like in North Carolina, they can do whatever they can do. Laws are different, So I'm enjoying how this is coming out. I don't think this is going to take me that long. Now, obviously, I'm not going to finish it on this show here, but you can see how, and again, the Arche paper is very different than working on cheap paper. This is very expensive paper. A sheet of this, the size that I have, which is big like this, my sheets are big. So I'd say they're 36 by 48 inches, maybe. Big, big, big. Those are about $100 a sheet, maybe 60. We've got 10 minutes. Thank you, Rich. 10 minutes. We love it. Yeah. So this is nice for this couple getting married. I'm so excited for them. And young, you know what I mean? People wait forever to get married. And then the other thing is, when people have like renewing their vows, I mean, I'm not mean to make fun of people or anything, but I mean, I don't know. Like, why? Like, I don't know. I always think like renewing vows, like, unless, I don't know, something can happen. I'm not going to judge people, but it's still like, really? Like, for what? Like, oh my God. I always think it means you almost got divorced and then you're like getting it back together, which is still nice. But it's like, my God, I've been married forever. And my parents have been married 60 years. Like, how do you even, So I don't really complain, but it's like, I'm not getting remarried, renewing my vows. No, thanks. This is looking really pretty. This one is going to be very soft. So that's another thing. If you're looking for a very soft look or an illustrated look, like something that you illustrated, watercolors are the way to go. The reason why I avoided watercolors is Boston University, we did not do watercolors. We did not do acrylic paint. No way, not even close. We were only allowed egg tempera, which we make with eggs. I don't even remember how to do it. Oil paint only, no black. We were allowed to use white, I think titanium, but that was the only one. Very specific on the colors that we had to use. And they pretty much are similar to the palette here, because they, like here, the only thing different here is there's white. White watercolor is odd to me. I don't know why people would have white watercolor, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I've used it before with the white watercolor, but yeah, normally I don't do that. But anyway, so the only thing why I don't do the watercolor is I'm not trained. I learned by myself, and I'm pretty darn good at it. I also learned from Lou Bonifart. He's down in Clinton, Connecticut, and I took some classes with Lou. He's probably long gone by now. Maybe not long gone, but if he lived to be older, he probably could have lasted. I mean, he could have just died. But Lou Bonifart. Lou Bonifart was one of the best watercolors that I've ever worked with. And actually, he liked me and everything because we got along great. But there was one thing he didn't like is my style because I kind of didn't follow his rules. I did it my own way. And, it worked because I was selling stuff. But he also was like master at, and all the little props. He used all the props, like all the tapes that you can tape over so it doesn't get on your waterfall. I didn't do that. I don't know why. I just didn't like it. Plus, I was, trained as just a painter. So I didn't do all that. This is looking really nice. I'm very happy with this. I'm going to do, I don't have his shoes and I don't have the bottom of her dress. And I might just kind of leave it the way it is. I'm not sure. With this one over here, this one's more tricky. The pastor is a little more tricky. And, it's okay. I'm not going to bring these back on the show because I don't think you're going to watch me do this again. But I just wanted to show you that with watercolors, don't be afraid to use them because they're really fun. Get the good paper if you can. And the also thing about the watercolors is this is so easy to travel with. I mean, look at this. This is as big as, it's smaller than a phone, It's tiny. And then you whip it out. You're going on like some bus ride across Tuscany and Italy or something like that. And you just bring this little compact. That's it. Look how little it is. And it comes with a teeny, teeny brush that goes right here, but clearly it's not there anymore. And I'd rather just use my own brushes, but the brush it comes with is very nice. It's a good brush. I don't know where mine is. I'm sure I took it out and used it a million times with other projects. And it's a good brush. It's a good brush. But you can also just throw brushes in your pocketbook. Generally, you don't have to be too careful with the brushes. But again, a lot of people will roll their brushes in like a towel. So they'll take a towel and then they'll roll their brushes into, like kind of into the, just wrap it up. They kind of roll it into the thing so that the bristles stay nice and everything. So yeah, if you want to try some watercolors, they're very fun. What you want to do before you do the watercolors, or definitely do not do watercolors without a sketch. You'll be bored out of your mind and you'll be bad out of your mind. So when you're doing watercolors, you definitely want to put a sketch down. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but you're going to want to put a sketch down so that you have lines to follow and just a little bit of like some kind of synchronicity going on with your thing here. Okay, I'm really liking this one. I'm really liking it. I'm sure Rich is going to say either 2 minutes or 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I knew it. So we got 5 minutes left. Now, I didn't get tons done today, but I was going to do 2 episodes, but I'm going to do 1 tonight. And thank you, Linda and Gary. You guys were great last week. Thanks for watching that episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Crack of Dawn. Anyone that wants to come on, I would love to have you on. We got lots of dates coming up for the Christmas season, if you want to come on for Christmas. And I would love to have you on as my guest. I'm just going to keep painting here. Again, these are about $20 a piece, just a little teeny thing. So I know my neighbor's going on quite a big excursion. She's definitely not going to bring one of these with a sketchbook, right, Mary Sue? I doubt it. But again, if this is something that you're interested, you get a teeny watercolor pad. Okay, you get the Arche one if you can. Get a little teeny watercolor pad. And you just put this, it goes right in your pocketbook. And just make sure that it dries out before you put it upside down in your pocketbook. But the watercolor dries very quickly. And then you just fold it up, put the brush in it. You know, you can be on your airplane doing like, little watercolors. You can use the cup that they put your little soda in. You can use that and do the little watercolors. And make sure you don't want to be using big paper because you're going to be traveling around. You're not going to want these big sheets of paper, but they also have papers that are postcard size and they're little teeny watercolors, okay? Just same size as a postcard. They even have a place for the postcard stamp. And then it has the line on the back. So you do your little drawing from a picture, and then you can actually send postcards out to your family and friends from, where you're traveling across, in Europe or whatever. And they're really cute. They're going to cost you a little bit more, but they're totally adorable. And trust me, if you're traveling across Europe, you're not going to have time to be doing all these little watercolor paintings all the time. But if you're interested in doing it, please trust me. It's so fun. And it has that little thing, teeny thing before you go on your trip. You just grab a thing of stamps. 2 more minutes, so we got 2 minutes. And then also, you probably didn't know this, but you can buy stamps at CVS. Nobody knows that, but you can go, they don't have like, fruits and vegetables and cartoon characters and presidents, but they have the regular flags. So any CVS, unless they're out, they carry regular stamps. So it's kind of fun. And I'm a big card person. I love sending cards. I love sending everything. So thanks for tuning in to the Crack of Dawn. I'll be on in 2 more weeks. I think I'm going to have a guest next week. I'm 2 weeks from now. Maybe Reese Hopkins. He's just moved from where did he move? Reese, where did you move from? Like way out west, and now he's moved to Connecticut. So I think he's like on his way now. But Reese, I'd love to have you on. Anybody else would love it. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. Enjoy your Halloween. Woo!
Nick Augustino right here at the East Side Restaurant. We always have the complete full dinner menu. Knockwurst, bratwurst, sauerbraten, potato pancakes, red cabbage, rice pudding, cream pies, all the desserts that Germany had to offer. I always do something different. Yes, I do. I brought seafood to the beer garden at the East Side Restaurant. East Side Restaurant, your German destination restaurant in Connecticut. Tiki-taka, hoy, hoy, hoy!